This is the brand new LEGO Marvel Avengers Age of Ultron Quinjet. This is set number 76325. This set comes in at just over 1,100 pieces. It's going to run you about $150 Canadian, which seems pretty high for the price per piece, but let me tell you, it's actually a really good deal because of the weight and the big pieces they use in this set overall. On the front of the box, you see a nice little action shot of the Quinjet flying through New York, along with the bottom row, which has the 5 minifigures respectively: Iron Man Mark 43, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Quicksilver, and Ultimate Ultron. Flipping to the back of the box, you can see the stand it stays on, as well as how it's positioned. As well, you can see some of the gears that turn it, and a nice display of all the minifigures with some of the features of the set. First up, we have this Black Widow, which is an exclusive to this set in no way at all. It comes in a lot of other sets, and it doesn't even have the arm printing that some of the other ones do. Although I don't really hate it, it seems fine just to me. On the front, you see like the standard Black Widow printing with the Black Widow insignia on the front. No dual molded legs, kind of plain on the back, and then the legs are just have a few belts or straps on them as well. Nothing crazy. Black Widow actually comes with these cool batons, which are supposed to be like her electricity batons that she has in the movies for shocking people or hitting people. You know the gist of batons. Electrified batons that she has in Age of Ultron. They work well enough. I really have no problem with this. Next up, we have the Hawkeye that came in the Age of Ultron set that came out last year, which is kind of the diorama of the beginning scene where all the Avengers join to take down a Hydra base. It has some nice printing on the front, which is supposed to be I guess it's a jacket that comes down the front. And then on the back, there's a little bit of printing, as well as the quiver that he's supposed to have all his arrows. He also comes with, of course, a bow and arrow. Next, what we have is the only exclusive piece in this entire set as it pertains to the minifigures, which I believe is the torso of Quicksilver. Now, the hair's been used. I'm pretty sure the face has been used. And the pants are just standard black pants. But however, you can see a super nice and accurate chest print on the front and back print. It looks really accurate to what it's supposed to be, even though it's just a shirt. At least they did a good job on it. Next up, we have the Mark 43, which has been in another set, including, I believe, the same Age of Ultron diorama. But I'll never complain about getting this thing. This is probably one of my favorite Iron Mans to ever come out. It just looks really good, especially with the shiny gold on the legs and the chest. A lot of detail on the back as well. So yeah, overall, this is just a great figure, and I'll never complain about getting this in a set. And finally, we have the Ultimate Ultron.
I think a lot about meteors, the purity of them. Boom. Okay.
Which, to be honest, I believe the one we got before in the Quinjet earlier had a different headpiece, and it looks way better in my opinion. This new one looks kind of bulky and really plain on the front. There's no detail. There's so much detail on Ultron's head here, but you put on this extra headpiece and it takes all of the detail away. So yeah, it's a cool mold, but I think the old one was better in my opinion. I will say though, Ultron as always is super detailed, especially on the back. The back printing on this is done really well. Even the head printing, the leg printing could have been dual moded, or they could have at least continued the printing all the way down to the feet, but it's not the biggest issue, and the arms look really plain like this as well, but overall it's a pretty solid minifigure. I also just want to point out with the minifigures that Quicksilver and Black Widow have a smiling or content happy face, and then they also have an angry or scared face on the other side. Then there's Tony Stark, who has a angry HUD display on the front, and then on the back he has just a happy calm face like all the other ones do. Then we go to Ultron, who has this kind of blank robotic stare, and then shifting towards the back of his head, he just has a bunch of printing on the back, no additional face details. The first sort of build we have is built out of 9 pieces. Mind you, 2 of them are pretty big. This is of course Black Widow's bike, or motorcycle, as I guess you guys would want me to call it. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's a motorcycle. It looks really good. The stickers are good. Could have been printed in my opinion, but I mean, I put the stickers on properly, so it doesn't really bug me. I'll move on to the Quinjet, which, I mean, holy, this thing is cool. So the only big problem you'll notice, especially on mine, is that the stickers are clear, so they've all started bubbling. So that's kind of really unfortunate, because otherwise I really like this set. I will say that most of the detail you see on this set, beyond the cockpit pieces, are all stickers. So if you're somebody who hates stickers, maybe keep that in mind. I will say though, the stickers do add a lot of detail, especially like the Avengers logo on the side there, and then the arrows pointing to the back of where the vents would be. Even to the bottom where you have these 2 stickers that act as kind of propulsion jets underneath. Overall, I think they were necessary, but I think they could have been printed and not stickers in a $150 set. I just want to point out a few more of these stickers. See here on each side you have these kind of hatches made out of stickers, and then on the top right above them you'll see these other stickers that represent kind of vents for the engine underneath. And then to get to the final 2 stickers, you remove this really cool cockpit piece. I really like how they did this. It's pretty long, so it gives you lots of access into the actual interior of the set, which To be honest, there's actually quite a bit of room in here for what you would expect. Looking from the front to the back, you can see inside that on the right hand side there's a sticker of Ultron, which is what they're supposed to be targeting with this jet. And then on the left you have kind of a schematic or screen showing any damage or anything that would be happening to the Quinjet inside. And then if you focus on the front of the cockpit, there's actually a targeting system right above this printed panel. I think this is a really cool addition too. It makes the set feel more real. Next, you notice right in the cockpit there's room for one minifigure, so we'll just throw in Hawkeye there. Then we'll move a little bit farther back. You can see there's 2 more chairs, so you can fit in Black Widow, Quicksilver, whoever you really want there, but there's a lot of stuff on the stand, so we'll just leave one in there for now. The cockpit only attaches by 4 studs on the front, but honestly it's really held and secure there as soon as you get it connected. Then we'll move to the back of the set, and you can see some crazy cool engine pieces. They use pink bricks underneath these translucent blue cheese slopes, and it just looks really good. It really makes it look like there's something coming out of the engines, kind of similar to what they did on the bottom with these pink pieces under there as well. Although these ones are stickers and they're not actually printed. Go figure. I think you notice a lot more at the back of the set is that when you look underneath, there's actually no landing gears, which kind of seems like an oversight to me. I feel like throwing in like 7 or 10 extra pieces to make some landing gears would have went over well, but I didn't make the set. I still think it's pretty good, and I guess that's what this stands for anyway. The next main play feature is if you look at the back, you can actually pull this ramp all the way down, and inside there's a Black Widow bike. So what you can do is if you move to the top, you pull this panel off, and then you have access to the full Black Widow bike. What you can do from here is you can actually push the bike outside onto the ramp, and it'll roll down, and it's pretty stable, to be fair. Once you have the bike out here, it actually gives you quite a bit of room. You can store Hawkeye's bow or the 2 electric batons that Black Widow carries. But what you can actually also do is you can put more minifigures in here, because there's about 2 or 3 studs you can use. And yeah, so you can use this as just kind of a bigger mobile command station, carrying a lot more of your minifigures, especially some of the ones that you didn't get, like Captain America or Bruce Banner if you have it, or someone like Wanda Maximoff, that would work too. If we take it back to the front of the Quinjet, this thing actually has 2 different modes. So these wings are connected by 2 different joints. So the first joint here, and then the second joint on the end of the wing. So the first mode you'll have is these folded up wings, and that's basically your landing mode. So if you want to display it just on the ground or anything like that, that's how you would display it on both sides. Next is the far more interesting mode, in my opinion, is where it's folded out, and then you kind of have to fold the end of this wing farther down. You would think it's almost like a 45-degree angle down. But yeah, the sheer size of this thing when it's unfolded like this is pretty astonishing, and honestly it has some weight to it as well. One other thing you'll notice while you're looking at the front of the set is that these little slopes are actually held in by like wrench pieces vertically. So yeah, that's just something interesting in the build that I thought I would note. Then we go on to kind of the last play feature of this set, which of course it has stud shooters on the sides. Honestly, they're hidden pretty well, especially under the wings, so I really don't have an issue with these. And they work just like stud shooters, just like this. You can kind of take out Ultron with the jet if the Avengers aren't enough for it. Now earlier I did say that there's no actual landing gear, which is true, but they kind of have these 2 feet at the back, so it's whenever you set it down it's always leaning forward, which is kind of a nice touch actually. Finally, on this jet, I kind of just want to talk about the coloring and the texturing they use. I think they did a really good job, especially with the gray bleeding into the blue on these kind of half 2x2 studs. It looks really good in my opinion, especially with the red, the way they connect it in these kind of angles like this. Now, and in terms of accuracy to the actual movies, most of the pictures you'll see in this set looks gray, not dark blue, but I can assure you if you see it in the sun, like in this picture I'm putting on screen now, this is far more accurate than having it dark gray instead. And to be honest, with Star Wars, I get enough of the gray on gray, so this is a welcome change in my opinion, even if it might not be the most accurate thing, although I still think it is. I will say the one that came out in 2012, the old gray one, is much smaller and really not a direct comparison, but I will say the interior is much larger and you can fit a lot more minifigures in it, although I much prefer that way this one looks, especially if you're going to just display this set and not do a ton of messing around with it. Now if you flip this thing upside down, you'll notice that there's these little 3 holes in the middle of the model, and you'll notice on the stand there's also these 2 blue pieces sticking out. You'll also notice on the stand that these red little half axles stick out and they actually connect direct. It feels really like effortless and it's held on really securely. This design, whatever they've done, I hope they keep doing this because it's actually really well done. It allows you to pretty much put the Quinjet in like whatever way you want, and there's no problems with it falling forward to where all the weight of the Quinjet is. Anyway, so now you'll just basically you connect it like this and it slides right in there, and then you'll hear kind of a pop, or I guess more so you'll feel a tiny little pop. And now that you have this thing in here, you can spin this thing around and even like wiggle it around as much as you want, and it's not going to pop off this connection on you unless you put some like serious force on it. So I'll give them props. This is a really good design. Not only does this connection for the Quinjet work really well, it's really sturdy too. You can move this around a bunch and it's never going to tip over or fall over. unless you physically like punch the thing or something. Alright, so now that you've got the set all set up on this stand, there's a few different clear pieces built right into the stand so you can put up a few minifigures. My personal favorite formation is putting Iron Man all the way up here, and then having Ultron kind of cutting him off. And then on the bottom, usually I put either Quicksilver running or Black Widow on her motorcycle chasing them. And if you're not a fan of the action scene, you can simply remove these, and there's 4 studs on the front and back that you can put all the minifigures there instead if you'd rather do that. So yeah, for a set that's $150 in Marvel, this is actually really good. Usually I would say how much $150 is way too overpriced. But honestly, for this set, I think it's worth it. I know the price per piece is off, but it's off in every set, and I feel like the size of the model you get in this is way better than any under $150 set out, or, you know, $200 Star Wars set. I would much rather have this and save $50 than have either the MTT or the Turbo Tank, which I actually like the MTT, so that's saying something. I overall love the colors as well. Like, the dark blue works really well as opposed to dark gray. And then the design elements of this, where they have these kind of folded pieces, like held by the wrench pieces, is just a great idea, although it might not be the most safe for longevity of the pieces. Who really cares at this point? The ability to drop Black Widow's bike is also really cool, as it's super accurate to the movie and actually happens in Age of Ultron, right where this scene would be taking place. Kind of to sum it up here, I really want to emphasize that detail and then the scale of this. This thing is only 1,100 pieces, but it feels way bigger than that. I will say that in this day and age of small Lego pieces in every set, this set has a really good variety of larger Lego pieces to make up kind of the paneling, where you don't need 6 or 7 tiny pieces. So like a 4x4 tiled off piece works just as well. So to finish up this review, we'll do our normal scores, which will start with the price. So just to recap, the overall price of this set is $150 for 1,100 pieces. But honestly, maybe it's because I've been reviewing these overpriced Star Wars sets. I actually want to give this set a 10. But keeping that in mind, I'm going to give this set a 9 out of 10 for price. I think $150 for something this size is well justified. I don't really think the piece count does this thing justice. Next we have the minifigures, and there's only one exclusive torso in this entire set, but really I do think the minifigures are good. I think it could have used a Captain America or a Wanda Maximoff just to really do this thing justice, or even a Bruce Banner would have been awesome. It's also really unfortunate that they changed the Ultron face, because I think it looked really good before and they should have just stuck with the helmet instead. Do love that Iron Man though, always going to love it, and it gets an extra point just for having that, but I still think the minifigure score on this set is going to be a 6 out of 10. I know that might seem low, but I think there's just a better Black Widow right off the bat you could have reused from an old set. Also, the Hawkeye is a direct reuse, so is the Iron Man. So really there's no reason to buy this set for the minifigures if you own any of the previous Marvel sets that have come out semi-recently with any of these figures in it. Next we're going to go to the physical builds of this set, and I'm really struggling not to give this a 10, to be honest. I really love how the build works. It's sturdy, the stand is perfect, the bike is a bike. The only thing I really wish this thing had was some sort of landing gear, retractable or not, and then maybe a little bit more of internal storage. To be honest, I think I'm going to have this build at a 9 out of 10. I just think it's that good, honestly. I couldn't recommend the builds enough. I just think this is a really well designed set. Now we go into the build process, which, I mean, it's anything but standard. There's some cool little interior pieces. There's no Technic really though, which hurts it a little bit. I also, thinking back, can't remember any really Easter eggs inside of it, so for that fact I'm just going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I know the stand technically is Technic, but it's really nothing that crazy. It is a fun build though. And now finally we go to our overall score, which everything considered, had this set had better minifigures in it, I could easily see this set being a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. But the fact that it doesn't means I'm going to have to take it down a little bit, so I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. So still super solid, but if you're buying this for the minifigures, I would recommend doing so. There's much cheaper sets with most of these minifigures, and the one exception being Quicksilver. So that's pretty much it for this one. Let me know what you guys want to see reviewed next. Any Marvel sets, Star Wars, literally any theme you guys want to see, just let me know. And yeah, so why don't you leave a comment below and we'll get down to this set as soon as we can. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.